The following is presented on TSN HD, Canada's sports leader in high definition.
Welcome to Gainesville and the Gatornationals, one of the most coveted wins in all of drag racing. And everybody knows it. The fans, the drivers, the teams. Matter of fact, the reserve seats were sold out over a week ago. Everybody is ready back in Nitro Alley. The final preparations are now underway. This telecast is available on ESPN2 HD, presented by Dish Network. After opening the season with 2 straight races out west, the NHRA comes to Gainesville, Florida. The Gatornationals is one of the sport's most storied events, and these drivers are ready to go.
Here we go. Running on, baby, go. Never gonna stop. Nobody's gonna slow us down. Let's go. Step on it, baby. Go. Never look back. Nobody's gonna stop us now.
From Gainesville Raceway in North Florida, it's round number 3 of the NHRA Powerade Drag Racing Series. The fans show up early in the morning here at Gainesville. They're ready, as are we, for the ACDelco Gatornationals. The first 2 days of qualifying, we had bright sunlight, but it's a light overcast that shields the track and cools it down a bit, as it does the spectators. Let's get right to the action and go to first round of Top Fuel. Well, the first pair featured the Phoenix winner, Rod Fuller, up against Corey Mack. And for Corey Mack, that's his first round win in the last 7 races. And that brought up, after that really incredible finish, David Baca and Doug Coletta. David won his first round of competition here in 2003. Coletta, the defending champion. And it was Coletta all the way.
And watch Doug Coletta on this replay as he starts applying the clutch. Ron Tobler's got it hooked up, both front wheels off the ground, and Doug Coletta steers it into the second round.
That was Hillary Will, who got her top alcohol dragster license here against Bob Vandergriff. And he goes career best. And Vandergriff, in front of a lot of UPS people here to watch him, takes that win.
Well, and somebody else that was watching was Hillary Will. Right about that point, all she could do was watch Bob pull away for the win.
And that was Brandon Bernstein, who is trying to turn his season around. He's not won a round in 2006. And he's not going to win this one. Melanie Troxel, the points leader in Top Fuel, takes the win. And then it was Schumacher and Herbert. And Herbert doesn't have to do it, but boy, he looks strong, and Herbert moves forward.
Big surprise here for your defending Powerade champion. Alan Johnson just missed it as it just starts to apply the clutch there and gets the tires loose. Tony tries to get to recover, but by then it's too late.
And that would be Doug Foley alongside Larry Dixon on the line. Dixon, the runner-up here in 2005. And the win there. Morgan Lucas, Scott White's 100th Nitro start. But not a win. Lucas takes it.
Watch Morgan Lucas here. Watch his right hand. He's going to go to the brake just to make sure it gets through that shake point. Back on the steering wheel. That's some heads-up driving there.
And that brought up the Australians. Cowan's first start with his new team. But it's Grubby all the way as Grubnick takes the win.
On board with David here. Pretty much a nice straight run. It kind of moves around a little bit. Shuts off just a little bit before the finish line, but he's into the next round.
So Melanie Troxel continues on, Gary Gerald.
When you come in leading the Top Fuel Championship point standings, even when it's early in the season, you want to make a statement in the first round. Melanie Troxel, I think, made a very resounding statement with a 450 run at 329 miles per hour. Did you feel like you had to step things up? You were going against Brandon Bernstein, kind of a tough competitor.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we struggled to qualify here. Weren't in coming into that last session. Made it happen, got in with a nice conservative run, but we knew we were going to have to step up this morning, and that's the great thing about working with these guys. My crew chief, Richard Hogan, all the Skull Gear guys, they stepped up to the plate and put the big number down. So we feel pretty confident about going into next round for everybody on this team. Torco Gate, Matco Oakley, everybody involved with it. It's we're just happy to get one more round.
Very surprising turn of events because your teammate Tony Schumacher ends up losing in his first round of eliminations. Does that put more pressure on you? Does it in fact change anything at all about the way you now approach the rest of the day or the next round of eliminations?
You know, I don't really think it does change anything for us. I mean, we're disappointed because they are our teammates, but on the other hand, they're the toughest team out here, so that's one less team we're going to have to come up against. So, you know, have mixed emotions about that, but, you know, they're a tough team. They've come from behind before to win the championship, so we're going to try and get every round we can on them and make it harder for them this year.
And even though it's only the third race of the season, every one of these drivers is thinking a whole lot about championship points.
Now, there's a gal that knows how to get it down to a championship, and she's starting at the right time. In round 2, it'll be Herbert and McClenathan and Lucas and Melanie Troxel.
And on the other side of the ladder, you got a great matchup between Larry Dixon and Doug Coletta. David Grubnick against Bob Vandergriff, who's coming off that career best ET of 452 in the first round.
And we welcome you all. I'm Paul Page. Marty is on assignment now to the Indy Racing League. He will be back a little later in the season, though, and we'll kind of share the duties. Mike Dunn is here as always, and as always is watching the weather and the brand new tire, the 2420, which is now mandated onto every car out there.
Well, and the weather plays a factor into these new tires because all the crew chiefs are trying to learn it. Now, they feel if there's a little bit of cloud cover and that track is tight, that you know, the tire is just about as good or maybe even better than the 1430. But when the sun comes out there and that track gets a little bit greasy, that tire seems to really go away, and it can give the crew chief some fits.
There's the way the weather is looking right now. Track temperature up at 106 degrees, altitude 1,300 feet. So what does that give you? How do you prepare for it?
Well, I mean, the crew chiefs are going to have to go out there and look at the racetrack and see what they think it's going to hold. Obviously, the first round usually is when the track is prepared to its best. It's going to be a little bit warmer. Second round is going to be much more touchy for the cars to get down the racetrack.
Oh, and as we move the funny car, John Ford is going to have a big matchup. Here's Dave Reeve.
The most compelling matchup in round number 1 of Funny Car involves this man, John Force, the number 1 qualifier. Should you get a fate as bad as to have to race Tony Pedregon? Remember, it was Tony Pedregon that ended John Force's hopes with a whole shot loss. That loss haunted John Force all season long. But you know what? I just talked to John. He said he doesn't just want to avenge that loss. That man wants to avenge every loss. That's how you become a 13-time champion. Already 7 times a winner here. He will go after number 8 today. Meanwhile, right next door, that's where we find his teammate, Robert Height. That's the man who gets to race the series' most recent winner, Tommy Johnson Jr.
The most competitive class in the NHRA just became even tougher. Tommy Johnson's win at Phoenix over 13-time champion John Force placed him on the long list of contenders for the 2006 championship. Well, Tommy Johnson figures into round 1 highlights. Of course, he and Robert Height, both funny car winners in 2006. But it was Height all the way here. And then Jeff Arendt, his first race of the year, and Eric Medlin. And for Medlin, the first round win of 2006. And so that brought up Jim Head and Tony Bartone. Bartone on the near side and drives on to his first round win of the year. He's also won here in Top Alcohol Dragster.
Tony Bartone's been doing a great job coming off that number 3 qualifying position with a career best 478 elapsed time. He backs it up here in the first round with a 481 to get him into the second round.
And that brought up Tony Pedregon and John Force. 4th time that Tony's qualified on the bump. But it was John Force all the way, the runner-up at Phoenix, who has 7 wins here.
Big matchup here, but it was done early as Tony Pedregon dropped the cylinder, had to backpedal it, relit the cylinder, but it was too little too late as John Force pulled away for the win.
Then it was the defending champion here, Whit Bazemore, his 600th round of racing against Cruz Pedregon. And score that one to Cruz.
This was a battle of the backpedaling here, and Whit Bazemore got the bad side of it, trying to get this thing to recover. Cruz Pedregon, on the other hand, he was able to get his to recover. Now, let's go on board and just listen. That's what it sounds like trying to hook up 8,000 horsepower when it won't do it.
And that brought up Phil Burkhardt and Gary Densham. Gary's first hole shot loss since Vegas of 2004. Mike Ashley, the Pro Mod King, up against Ron Capps. And look at the hole shot as Capps takes the win, identical elapsed times. And then it was Gary Selsey. 4 hole shot losses this season. Wow. Del Worsham, who won here in 2004. Now let's go down to Gary Gerald. He's with Gary Selsey.
Back in Gary Selsey's transporter, obviously huge disappointment for him and this team as a defending champion. He comes back. You're taking a look here at a replay of your launch. What have you learned?
Well, I learned that Del was first off the line, but it didn't look like I was that bad. I took a little bit off the start line. I didn't roll it in deep because I knew what force had ran the round before. And, you know, the yellow light's on and the car is moving forward and then the green goes. So, but I'm watching the pre-stage on Dell's and the light goes out first. I mean, he's obviously ahead. The reaction time is better. But, you know, it's just one of those things. It's just, you feel like an ass when you let your team down.
They come back and they analyze it frame by frame, but it doesn't change the outcome of that pair.
So here's the ladder in funny car now. Force against Worsham, Height, and Burkhardt.
And on the other side of the ladder, we got Cruz Pedregon and Eric Medlin, Bartone and Capps, with Medlin and Capps having lane choice.
And when we come back, it's going to be Corey McLenithan, who is ready to come up against Doug Herbert, who knocked off Schumacher in round 1. We'll be right back. And we welcome you back to slightly overcast, but still beautiful Florida day. The NHRA Powerade Drag Racing Series and the ACDelco Gatornationals, one of the big ones in the event. I'm a little hesitant. Alan Johnson in the booth this early. You got your first win here as a crew chief, though, back in, what, 88?
88, yeah, with my brother. It was his first national event win. It was, you know, we thought we were going to have some real good luck in Gainesville after that, but it's been a tough road.
Yeah, standing here now has got to hurt. Well, let's take a look at the ladder as we're ready to go here. Herbert, McLenithan, Lucas and Troxel, and then Dixon and Coletta, and Grubnick and Vandergett. First pair on the line, ready to go. Little race there. Coletta moves forward. Dixon's got a problem. Hole shot is the key.
Boy, what a great drag race. So that's kind of unusual on 2 points. Usually Larry Dixon doesn't get beat on a hole shot very often, and also you usually don't see that thing on fire going through the lights.
No, that's unusual. You know, Donnie Benner's been doing a great job with that thing lately, and wonderful job this weekend qualifying on at 54 in his last run, and the 56 there as the track heats up. Still good.
And Doug Coletta did a great job, had almost, you know, a little over 300ths of a second advantage off of the starting line. Larry Dixon didn't have a bad reaction time, but it just wasn't good enough as we watch him go down the racetrack. He's run 270 miles per hour at the 8th. Let's see, right there, cylinder goes out. Do you think might have been a little rev limiter deal there?
Well, it could be. I'm sure it is. It's coming into play here because the tires are slipping a little down track, so it comes in a little early and could have dropped a couple holes, and then looks like it might have knocked a rod out of it.
Remember, the rev limiter comes in to slow these cars down by taking ignition timing out when it sees a little bit too much RPM.
And that sets us up now for Herbert and McLenithan. Let's go check in with Gary Gerald now.
Doug Coletta, you're one of the drivers who has consistently been on that brand new Goodyear tire through the first 2 events and through all of the testing. Do you feel like that's put you and your team ahead of the curve at all?
You know, I've just been telling everybody, wait until we're done on Sunday and I'll tell you. But, you know, Ron and Connie, they've stuck with the thing, and we're obviously behind him on that. So we're hoping to carry it through. And, this Mac Tools distributor car was a strong run. We got out there. I mean, it was exciting for me. Threw the bell off right at the finish line. And, I figured Larry was going to go by us, but he didn't. So we'll take the win for sure.
You betcha. On to the next round. Thanks.
So back up at the start line. Ready to go with Herbert and Clenathan. Clenathan will start over there on the left side. Here we go. Oh, right away. And Herbert takes that win.
Just like in the first round when he came up against you, Alan. He smoked the tires and he gets the win. Makes a decent run, but
That was a good run, 457.
Yeah.
I mean, they struggled in qualifying. They got it together first round and continued here.
A couple of different points of view for you, Mike.
I think Alan's right. I mean, it's just you give crew chief Wayne Dupuis enough time, he's going to figure it out. It just keeps getting a little bit better and better. Heat of the day, 457. I'm sure they'll be relatively happy with that. Look down track. That starts to drift towards the center line a little bit, but as long as you don't cross it, you're fine, and he's into the semifinals.
Let's go down to the far end again. Gary's with Herbert.
And Doug, we were mentioning yesterday in our qualifying show that your sister Heather, captain in the Army, year in Iraq, back. She got here just in time for you to punch your way into a solid qualifying position. Is she the good luck charm this weekend?
I'll tell you what, if she is, I'm going to have to write the general and see if I can get him to let her off more days to come to the drag races. I can't say enough Snap-on Tools with Wayne Dupuis. Everybody that we got on board, everybody's working really hard on this car. We had a heck of a winter, and with race bricks and Autolite, everybody that has come on board with us, man, I can't say enough. We're gonna win this race here pretty soon.
All right, thanks.
Back up at the line, it's the Aussie, David Grubnick, and Bob Vandergriff Jr., UPS car for Vandergriff, and they've got a lot of corporate folks here, a lot of sponsorship involvement this weekend.
So far, they've been doing a great job, and Bob Vandergriff came into this round having lane choice. He chose that left-hand lane. The majority of the teams, the only one in the first round was actually Lee Beard and Rod Fuller, the initial car out, that chose the left-hand lane that had lane choice. The reason he did, he ran a great 452 in the first round, so I don't think there's anything wrong with that left lane. Do you, Alan?
No, there really isn't. I think the only issue is down there probably around 700 feet. There's a bump, and I guess if you hit it just wrong, it could make you smoke the tires. But the track's cool enough right now, I don't think it's going to come to play.
Vandergriff beat Hillary Will in first round. Grubnick beat Cowan.
Beating Cowan, that was a race of the Australians for Australian bragging rights there. So I think basically both of these teams are comfortable in the lanes they have. I'm sure David Grabnick has no problem being in that right-hand lane.
No, I don't think so. I think it's a couple of mid-50s here, probably.
And Vandergriff lights up right at the starting line and gives Grubnick the win.
That was a bit of a surprise there. Now, do you think that's the tire? Because I've heard people say that a tire on the initial hit of the throttle gets a little touchy sometimes, and we're seeing some spin there.
No, I don't know about that. This track could be a little bit tricky. I think the tire is fairly consistent from what I've seen, but that team is they're pretty new this year. They haven't got a lot of stuff on Sunday, so you can expect that once in a while.
We watched David Grubnick go down track, nice straight clean run again into the semifinals.
Well, Pro Stock will be coming up a little bit later, and Dave Reef, we're looking forward to that.
You bet, as are the ladies down here at the time slip booth down at the far end of Gainesville Raceway. They like to have a little fun. Now, please believe me, it is not biased. They do like Greg Anderson, but let me tell you how they sweeten the pot for the Pro Stock drivers not named Greg Anderson. Should he be knocked off today, that driver will earn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes of Tootsie Pops. This is actually something that started a couple of years ago when Greg won here for the first time. It began as 1 box. Well, now you can see that it's grown to 5, and well, it was 6, but I can promise you that we're going to have a good time back in the pits after this race gets over. Pro Stock to come, though. Sorry. Hey, thanks for the suckers.
Boy, that better come by here, Dave.
And then bring it to the top end, Reaper.
It's on its way, baby. Morgan Lucas and Melanie Troxel coming up. Melanie has had a terrific year thus far. Melanie Troxel is the only Top Fuel driver to appear in all 8 rounds this season, and she's won 7 of them. backed by the team that won 2 straight championships. Can Troxel continue her early season success? Well, there's Melanie Troxel. Richard Hogan is her crew chief. You got some experience there.
Yeah, me and Richard go way back, and he's doing a fine job. You know, 2 teams went together and built that car, and he's taken over from there and is doing quite well.
How about the job Melanie's doing? I mean, what do you think? She looks like she's just getting better and better every race.
Oh, sure. You know, it's not easy driving one of these cars, and, you know, she had a year where she didn't do a lot of driving, so getting used to a car that runs 440s isn't all that easy, so she's doing well.
Morgan Lucas on the left. Wow, drifted a little bit over toward the line, but Melanie Troxel takes that win with a 472.
Boy, I think she's breathing a sigh of relief on that one. You're going to see, we watch the replay, she gets jump off starting line, good launch. And boy, Morgan just basically spun the tires early, probably won that tire shake. And look how close she gets that thing to the center line. I mean, she really arced it around. Then the cylinders went out because the chassis unloaded, started spinning the tires. I'm sure that had nothing to do with the rev limiter at that point. It just flat got out of the groove and started to spin the tires. Watch this. I mean, it was running pretty good down there, and then all of a sudden, as the clutch starts coming in, this thing makes a move over towards the center, and she has to jerk the wheel because at that point, it was about ready to drift over the center line.
On board look. Goodbye, Melanie. But you can see even there, how she moved over to the left. Question is, can she drive? Question answered. Melanie Troxel. Here's the way they will then match up in the semifinal. Melanie will face Doug Herbert. And it'll be Doug Coletta and Grubnick. Little team matchup going for us there, huh? It's going to be funny cars when we return to the ACDelco Gatornationals from Gainesville Raceway in Florida.
You got a choice to make. So what's it gonna be? So what's it gonna be? You got a choice to make. If you really want it, you can go hard or go home. You can work real hard. You got a choice to make. Don't stop, don't quit. You can go hard or go home. You got a choice to make. Do you really want it? You can go hard or go home.
And it's time for the Monsters. Funny car comes out. Second round action. Here is the ladder for you. Forrest and Worsham, Height and Burkhardt, Cruz Pedregon, and Medlin, and Bartone and Capps.
Right now we got Eric Medlin and Cruz Pedregon on the starting line. Cruz had to backpedal his way into this round. Eric Medlin ran a 482, but they've been having a lot of trouble breaking a lot of engine parts this weekend.
There's Eric. Medlin takes it. A 482, 321 miles an hour.
Boy, that was Eric Medlin from start to finish. Left on Cruz Pedregon and just pulled away. Makes a nice run, and the one good thing is it looked like it was nice and clean at the finish line, something we haven't seen in the last couple runs from him.
Yeah, it was clean. It didn't drop any holes down there, wasn't mixing them up, and I'm sure they're happy with that.
Yeah. What's the difference in, we always talk about Top Fuel and Funny Car. What's the hardest part, and you've tuned both of them, what's the hardest part about tuning a Funny Car versus a Top Fuel dragster?
You just have to be a little bit more conservative with a Funny Car. You get away with a lot more. You can have those home run shots with a Funny Car that, or with a dragster that you can't get away with a Funny Car. So they're just a little bit harder to, get aggressive with.
All right, let's send you down to the far end again. Eric Medlin is with Gary Gerald.
Eric Medlin said, did I do something wrong? It's quiet down here. No, that was just a solid 82. How good did it feel?
It felt real good, Gary. I think all the pieces stayed where they were supposed to stay for once, but we've had a little trouble here this weekend with our Syntec Ford, but the guys are doing a great job back there, and I can't say enough about Jason Morton and Zach Seedroff and Brian McGraw coming back to give us a hand a little bit last round, but we got plenty of guys out there, and we got some great oil and some great parts, so we'll see what happens the rest of the day. Just want to wish John and Robert some good luck, and like I said, you can't say enough about these guys. They're the ones that make it happen, so thank you.
Bet, thank you.
Melanie Troxel's car comes back to the pits, get to work on that, get ready for the next round. And fortunately, it looks like that's going to be pretty routine for them.
Yeah, even though it spun the tires out there in the middle and it got loose and probably put some cylinders out, but I don't think she was in the throttle long enough to probably hurt any parts. You, Alan?
No, it looks like she pedaled it once down there after she straightened it out, but I doubt that there's too much damage.
And so that'll bring up Tony Bartone, who defeated Head in round number 1, and he will face Ron Capps. Capps the only one with the older body. He's in the Stratus, and we've seen the Charger and the rest of the team.
Yeah, both the Chargers are out right now, and the Stratus is still in, but I don't think that had anything to do with the body.
No, I really doubt it.
This is a good matchup here. Tony Bartone's been having a pretty much a career weekend for him in funny car. Ron Capps is going to have his work cut out for him.
Well, Bartone gave it to Ron, but Capps takes the win. So it's Capps with a 481, 317 foul on Bartone's side.
Yeah,
red light.
Bartone just took a shot at the tree. You had a bad reaction time in the first round. I got to believe that probably affected him. He wanted to gear up for it and just kind of took a shot and missed it by only 0.07 of a second. But it wasn't going to make any difference. It looked like he might have spun the tires down track or possibly even broke something. As a result, Ron Capps is in the semifinals.
Well, it's kind of any way you get there, though, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, it's whatever it takes. I don't care if they red light or whatever. I'll take any win I can get. How about you, Alan?
I would have taken a red light first round.
Better fire over here.
Back in Grubnick pits, they're working on the car. Dave himself there working with the parachute. Has the bragging rights in Australia, as you mentioned, Mike Dunn now, after that first round matchup against Cowan.
How long does it take your guys basically to, I mean, we always talk they got 75 minutes between rounds, but actually once they get it there, pull that engine apart, put it back together and fire it up. What is a normal time for that?
You know, if they're really pushing it, humping it in like 19 to 20 minutes.
19 to 20 minutes to rebuild the complete engine, put a clutch in it, and fire it back up. That's amazing.
We do, one of the exercises we do is when we test, we try to make 5 runs in one day. So we'll start at 11 and finish at 5 and make 5 runs in between. So
you guys actually kind of use that to test your crew out too.
We do. Yeah, we do.
Back over in the Troxel pit as they get ready as well. Boy, it's amazing to see how fast the heads come off and everything. Those are some pretty spectacular numbers alone, 17, 18 minutes. Well, now back up at the far end, Gary Gerald is with Ron Capps.
Ron Capps, that looks like a routine one, but I'm wondering, is there ever a routine run when you're wheeling one of these beasts?
No. First, I want to... Don Schumacher's mom was a little sick. He left for the weekend, just got back. So I want to say I hope she's watching, and we're going to do good for her. But guys back at the shop, they don't get any kudos. You hear NASCAR guys saying, I want to thank the guys back at the shop. But we got guys in Brownsburg, that big shop, that are watching and listening to the internet and everything, and they don't get any but look behind me, got Army guys. They're out first rounder down here ready to help us, and that's great. But like you asked me, I got to tell you, the rev limiter thing, there's a whole new deal that popped up this week, and with a slip tube, it's getting up there and getting on the chassis, and when it hits the limiter, it's hit it twice bad here at 1,200 feet, and it unloads the car, and I thought it blew a tire. It took me to the right real hard, so it's doing weird stuff, but, you know, we're just trying to keep going rounds. The force is breathing down our neck, and it's fun.
I guess there's no such thing as a routine run in a funny car.
Seems to be the answer. In 2 weeks, the drivers in the world's fastest motorsport move into Houston, Texas for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Spring Nationals. ESPN2 will have coverage of qualifying on April 1st. No, honestly, on April 1st at 8 o'clock in the evening. Then NHRA Today, Sunday, April 2nd, 11:30 in the morning in the East. And then the finals on Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Coverage of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Spring Nationals is also available in high definition on ESPN2 HD. Call your cable operator or satellite provider today.
Boy, and here is a great matchup here. John Force and Del Worsham. Nobody ever takes Del Worsham lightly. And, I mean, he can take you out at any time, and John Force knows he has to be ready for this race.
Yeah, and John Force can't take him lightly because Del beat Force to the win here in 2000. But not this time. With a 479, 322 miles an hour, it's John Force.
Boy, but still a great drag race. I mean, Del Worsham had about 1/100 of a second advantage off of the starting line. It's almost enough, but his 481 came up just a little bit short of John Force's 479. We go back, look down track here. Both cars pretty straight. John started drifting towards center a little bit, but then reeled it back in. Just a great side-by-side drag race, Alan.
Yeah, I think Force was even in a little bit deep, so that was a pretty good run. Austin's got a pretty good grip on that thing this year. I think he's made some clutch changes over the year, and it's working for him.
What do you think about Austin Coyle, obviously, as a crew chief? I mean, what makes him so good?
Well, for one, he's got a big database behind him, for starters. And, you know, he's obviously a pretty brilliant guy, and he's, you know, he's an innovator. And he works real hard at it, and it pays.
All right, let's go to Dave Reef. He's with Grubby right now.
You bet. Grubnick, of course, running that 24-20, doing so all season long. And congratulations, you are going to your first semifinal.
I know, it's fantastic. And, you know, we struggled earlier on in the year, but, you know, we're getting a handle on this tire. We got great sponsors in Strivectin and MacTill's Technico Redline. They've supported us. And Connie, Jono, I can't say enough about them, man. We'll just keep going rounds. We'll see how it goes.
Low ET of the second round. Anytime we're down here, I love spending time with this gal, Shirley Muldowney, the legend. We want to congratulate you on induction into the International Drag Racing Hall of Fame this weekend.
Thank you. Yeah, it was quite an honor. Quite the honor.
What was it like being in there amongst your peers and being honored once again?
Yeah, it definitely made me feel as old as I am, but I knew that was the ultimate recognition in drag racing.
Well, we certainly love you and congratulate you.
Thank you.
Back up to Paul.
It's always good to see Shirley Muldowney. Lady in pink and looking top in Ron Katz's pits right now. Get the car back, ready to go to work. It's a ballet, isn't it?
Yeah, they can't get mixed up in there. Everybody needs another job.
Phil Burkhardt Jr. on the line now.
Phil Burkhardt, he's been known as the giant killer, and he's up against Robert Hight. We know Phil, I mean, he can take out the champions left and right. He's done it with Gary Selzy and John Force. Now he's up against John's teammate Robert Hight with his crew chief Jimmy Prock. They're one of the best in the business of making horsepower. Once again, just like Dell, you can't take Phil for granted, but I'll tell you what, watch out.
Oh, now there's a race. Hight with a 479, 321 miles an hour.
Wow. How about Phil Burkhardt? Now, an 0.17 reaction time, and Allie had an 0.15, I think, in the first round. I mean, if he's guessing awfully good.
I would say I don't even think he's deep staging that much. He's just either wired to it or he's guessing.
Man, but still wasn't enough. Robert Hight and Jimmy Prock with that 479 horsepower just basically drove around Phil Burkhardt. Not a whole lot wrong there. No tire shake, looks pretty smooth. Robert doing a great job keeping that thing stuck right in the middle of the lane there.
So here are the matchups in Funny Car for the semifinals. It'll be John Force, who will have lane choice over Robert Hight. And Eric Medlin. Ron Capps will face him, and Capps has lane choice. Well, it's been good having you here, but you understand if I say we really don't want to see you back here.
Well, I don't want to be here again, to be honest with you now. I've enjoyed this. If if it happens to be in the cards again, maybe I'll be up here, but I hope that doesn't happen anymore.
I'm sure it won't.
Well, coming up, it's going to be Pro Stock. Big matchup coming up. Erica Anders and Jason Lyons. Stay with us. We welcome you back to Gainesville Raceway for the ACDelco Gatornationals. The crowd is ready, as are we for Pro Stock. The Professor, Warren Johnson, is running down career win number 100. His victory in Phoenix was number 96, and it could not have been sweeter. Johnson's win in the final came against his former crew chief and three-time defending champion Greg Anderson. The Professor is back, and class is back in session. Yeah, but he's in the middle of kind of a verbal barrage with Greg Anderson. He says, Johnson, if he isn't ahead of me by the 8th mile, then he's toast.
And Greg Anderson, he fires back, and I quote, I guess he's got to talk when he gets a chance because he doesn't have that many moments in the sun anymore. He got an easy one. He should have lost in the first round, the second round, and the final. He just got lucky, bottom line.
Ongoing chapters yet to be written. So we want to show you some highlights in Pro Stock elimination, and we'll start with Warren Johnson up against Larry Morgan. Yeah, that's right. Morgan takes the win. Then V. Gaines and Greg Stanfield. Yeah, but everything that mattered here really back at the starting line with the red light. Ricky Smith, Jim Yates. And that's Smith with the 6.70, 205 miles an hour off of the hole shot. Tom Martino and Ricky Stevens. Martino takes the win, bringing up Max Naylor and Edwards. Naylor just coming off an accident to get here. A red light by Edwards. That gives Naylor the win. And watch Erica. Oh, yeah. And the crowd loved it.
How about Erica getting the win on a hole shot? She got the advantage off the starting line over Jason Line, held on to the finish line to get the win. Great job. On board as she runs through the gears right now. She's just looking over to see if Jason's there. He's coming on fast, but just ran out of real estate.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to feel good there. Craig Anderson, Dave Howard. Continuing Pro Stock coverage. Anderson with a 6.66 at 206 miles an hour.
On board with Craig Anderson. He had to drive around Dave Howard, who got the jump off the starting line, but that horsepower on the other end, he was able to do it.
Yeah, look at that finish, though. That's very pretty. And then up came Alan Johnson and Ron Krischer. A red light once again. This time for Johnson. And Alan moves on. Ron moves on. Let's go down to the far end. Erica and Gary Gerald.
The familiar colors of Erica Ender's machine, Slammers, the Ultimate Milk, is their sponsor. They've got 100 people from their headquarters in West Palm Beach here today. They are excited, as well they should be. How excited are you when you knock out a number 2 qualifier in Jason Line?
Oh, we're extremely excited. The Slammers Ultimate Milk crew is here. Bravo Foods are here. There's not a better place to take out Jason or Greg or somebody. You know, they're tough. They're a classy bunch of guys, and we really love them to death. But we're so happy to go up there. You know, we knew we had to bring our game. We didn't make it down the track a couple times this weekend, but we brought it today, and I'm ready to go.
Confidence is soaring, in case you hadn't noticed that.
So in Pro Stock, here's the way it stands right now. Anderson and Stanfield and Naylor and Martino will go against one another, trying to find out the results for the semifinal.
And on the other side, we got Eric Enders and Ricky Smith, Morgan and Krischer, with Ricky Smith and Larry Morgan having the lane choice.
And in Pro Stock Motorcycle, they're looking for parity this year. Some rule changes to get us there. Riding the momentum of his historic run at Gainesville, Andrew Hines took home his second straight Powerade championship in 05. And along with his teammate, GT Tonglet, a 1-2 Harley finish in the standings. But have the off-season rule changes given Suzuki riders the upper hand? In Pro Stock Motorcycle, we'll go back and look at the round 1 highlights there. The first pair coming up, Nino Scali and Matt Smith. And the problem on the far side, gave it to Scali all the way. Good race there, but the hole shot win really paying off for Sean. Karen coming back after that bad accident comes up against Craig Treble. And Karen takes the win on the hole shot. There are the intervals. Look at that.
A great race. Actually, Craig Treble was ahead 1,000 foot, and then she went on by once again. Just a good side-by-side race.
Mike Berry and Chip Ellis.
Mike Berry, red lights.
And America's Georgia Chip Ellis goes on to take that win on the red light. Brings up Andrew Hines and the defending champion here, Steve Johnson. Johnson on the right side. And it's goodbye to Steve. Hines moves forward.
Steve just signed a major sponsorship with Snap-on. It looked like the bike just kind of moved over towards the wall, and he finally had to get out of the throttle, and all he could do was watch.
Yeah, you notice he had a sign asking for a Pro Stock crew chief to call him. Antron Brown on the left side. Brown against Wesley Wells. Antron moves forward. Then it was DeSantis and Ryan Schnitz. Schnitz had 3 wins last year, the most of anybody in Pro Stock motorcycle. And look there, he takes that as well with a 708, 186 miles an hour. That brought up Sampay and Tonglet. Sampay on the left side. The winningest female driver in all NHRA history. Is she on her way to another one? It looks very possible. And how about Karen Stouffer? Let's go down to Gary Gerald.
It was, of course, just 5 months ago that this woman, Karen Stouffer, underwent a horrendous freak accident in Las Vegas. She ended up with broken pelvis. She ended up with broken bones in her face, her nose, her hand, of course, that operates the clutch on the motorcycle. And after all the rehab, you come back, you'd have a stunning first-round elimination win. Is there a giant sense of accomplishment or relief, or what are you feeling after that first-round success?
You know, I was so elated. You know, I really don't like beating up on Craig. He taught me a lot. He taught me everything I knew, and we had to bring it on for that first round. But, you know, we focused so much on my rehab during the winter months on my hand and just exercising and exercising. And I'm so glad that I could pay it back for the team and win the race on a whole shot, because it was a question mark. We never knew coming into the season if it was going to be back. And we showed early on that it was back. So I was elated. It was pure joy.
This is an amazing story, and it's great to have you back with that big smile.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
And good to see that smile as well. Big matchups coming up then. Schnitz, Scally, Ellis, Sampay, Brown, and Gant, and Hines and Stauffer. That's the way they said as they'll take a look for the semifinals. Some great matchups, including in Pro Stock, Erica Anders, Larry Morgan, and of course, Greg Anderson. All when we come back. Back at the ACDelco Gatornationals, Gainesville Raceway in North Florida. And it's Pro Stock that we are ready to go with now. And once again, we've got a visitor, and it was your dad, Kurt Johnson, that originally dubbed this thing the penalty box if you came in here?
Yeah, I guess so. Really, it feels like I'm on a prison line up here with Mike and Paul, like I did something, which I guess we didn't do.
There's the front.
We didn't do enough is what the problem was. But just a few gremlins in the ACDelco Cobalt this weekend, and we're going to try and mash them and get them figured out for Houston.
But the good side of that is you do get to spend a lot of time now with some folks who are at the track and schmooze a little bit. And that's good for them.
Yeah, I spent about an hour signing autographs this morning, which is great for the ACDelco Chevrolet people. And, you know, the fans really bring you back to life after you crawl out a hole this morning, you know, trying to get back on your feet, and then they really make you feel good.
Kind of revitalizing.
Absolutely.
Anders and Smith. And it's Erica. Whole shot win for her.
That's 2 in a row for her today. How about that? She couldn't even get this car down the racetrack hardly but one time in qualifying. Now they're kind of getting together. Not running the kind of numbers we saw them in the first 2 races, but still with her driving, she's managed to get into the semifinals.
I'm sure they went back and looked at their notes and made 2 good runs with the Slammer Cobalt. Like they only made 1 good run in qualifying and had 3 bad ones, but they put it together on Sunday, and that's when it counts.
And it was a whole shot win. I mean, she only got about a 6,000th of a second advantage. It was pretty much an even start when us drivers are talking with each other. But still, it's a whole shot win because she ran a slower elapsed time and got the win because she got there first because she got off the starting line first.
Yeah, take a look at that. That's a rematch, of course, of round 1 at Phoenix, which was won then by Richie Smith. So we're in balance now. Oh, yeah. It's
Fans
good
are loving
now. It can be even better after final round. Nice going, Erica. And the fans love every moment of that, as they should.
Now, Kurt, we hear a lot of teams talking about how this racetrack was a little bit loose the first 30 feet for the pro stock cars, and we saw the one run where you got really sideways when you let the clutch pedal out. Is it still that way here today, you think? Or?
Well, it's been an issue. You know, the ACDelco Cobalt's been making a lot of power, and it's been hard to apply. We've been struggling with the first 16, 330 feet. And the way the racetrack is, it's got a real coarse finish to it. It's got almost grooves in it on the starting line, so it's been a problem.
Martino with a 670, 205 miles an hour. Let's go up to the far end. And Gary, how's Erica doing?
I want to know, is this a storybook kind of a day, the way it's starting to unfold?
Man, I hope so. That'd be wonderful. We're really excited. You know, that's Ricky and I's 5th time to race. We seem to line up against each other every time we pull up, but we were 2-2, and now we're 3-2, so we're happy to bring one home for Slammers. We got a tough round next round, so we'll see if we can go get them.
And Ricky had a hug for her when he came over after the loss.
Don't forget the next Sunday, March 26th, the IndyCar Series is in Homestead, Florida for the Toyota Indy 300. And you'll be meeting for the first time in one of those cars, third-generation driver Marco Andretti. It's the start of what should be a storied career. The Toyota Indy 300, 3:30 on ABC Sports. Join us then, won't you?
My old buddy Marty will be working with Scott Goodyear and Rusty Wallace. Some of those race car drivers actually have turned left at the end of the straightaway,
Yeah,
which we don't really understand, do we, Kurt?
No, not at all.
With those two, also good luck. Rusty and Scott probably going over the top of Marty's head. Larry Morgan went to the semifinals at the Winter Nationals. Ron has not been to a semifinal round this year. He's coming off a first-round loss at Phoenix to Mike Edwards.
They're both late on that run.
So Krischer with a 668, 205 miles an hour over Morgan.
Good run for Ron right there at 668. That's pretty stout. Larry's been borderline all weekend, running close to tire shake, so that's probably what happened there.
Yeah, he got way loose. Wow, look at that thing slide out. He had about 1/100 of a second advantage, like you said. They were both didn't have very good reaction time, but look at that. Spins the tires, pulls second gear. That thing really moved out there. He did a great job to hang on, but by that point, Ron Krischer was gone.
Yeah, amazing to see all the movement in the right rear of that car. Dave Reef, what's going on down at Robert Height's pit?
Oh, love watching a good nitro turnaround. They have 75 minutes to actually complete the turnaround. As far as teams go, they actually begin that process at the far end of the racetrack. The Zeus tabs come off. A lot of the safety equipment that keeps the oil off the racetrack, that comes off at the far end. By the time this thing gets back to the pit area, in just under 10 minutes, the bottom end guy will take the oil pan off, take the main bearings out, everything in the bottom end comes off. On the top side, same story. Valve cover comes off. The cylinder heads are removed. This thing is stripped of pistons, taken down to a bare block, and built back up. Meanwhile, behind them, the clutch man takes all the clutch discs off, replaces those. You notice that man and a lot of the others have some gloves on. Why is that? Well, there's a lot of hot parts, as hot as 800 degrees. You got to keep yourself protected. As far as hot goes, well, that describes John Force Racing as a whole, as all three cars are into the semifinals for the first time since Robert Height has been a part of this team. They are guaranteed at least one car into the finals, possibly two, if Eric Medlin should beat Ron Capps. Everybody chasing that elusive Gainesville Wally, though. But man, I love watching turnarounds. They're awesome.
Oh, they are. It's something to see all that work. Greg Anderson has been in the finals. First two races of the season. He'll take on Greg Stanfield, who has never beat Greg Anderson in their prior 6 meetings, including the semis at Phoenix.
This will be a tough race right here. Both of them are good on the tree. Stanfield's been real good. I hope Greg wins.
Well, now that you've done that on national television, if it doesn't work out, you're going to be in trouble. They'll blame you.
He's got 12 on the tree.
Wow, and carries it there. Upset run. Wow. Stanfield, the 666 at 205 miles an hour.
What a great job by Craig Stanfield. The 12 you were talking about, Kurt, 12 thousandths of a second advantage off the starting line over Greg Anderson, and then even ran quicker. 666 with a 9 to a 667 with a 0. 1/1000th of a second quicker. What a great drag race.
Excellent run for the Piranha Z car.
Go back and look at Greg Anderson's onboard.
Greg had lane choice. He moved over the right lane. Maybe when he saw what happened with Larry Morgan in front of him, just thought maybe that lane was going away a little bit. Could have possibly cost him because it didn't seem like that lane affected Greg Stanfield at all.
So here's the matchups now for the semifinal round of Pro Stock. Stanfield and Martino. Stanfield will have the lane choice there. And Erica will take on Ron, and Kircher has the lane choice in that one. Let's go down to Gary once again.
And Greg Stanfield has just come climbing out of there. I want to know, when you knock off Greg Anderson, who's a 3-time series champion, is that an upset in your mind?
Oh, that's a big upset. You don't know how bad I've been wanting to beat Greg. Probably one of the best drivers out there with the best team. And the Royal Purple, Piranha Z behind us, and Don and Bart Price going to the semifinals.
How does the 66-9 sound in your book?
That's awesome. Awesome. All the credit goes to our team, Mike Elliott, my brother, and Larry. Hey, we're pumped up.
You should be.
Yeah, you ought to be. Career best run. That's really, really nice for him. So, well, it's good to have you here. Nevertheless, good to see you. We don't want to see, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, see you here again. Okay?
No more penalty box or prison lineup.
Well, the ACDelco Gatornationals, the crowd has just a short time here to go down and get something cold and some food, and then we're going to go right back to racing. NHRA Powerade Series. And we welcome you back once again to Gainesville Raceway in Gainesville, Florida. Yeah, I like that. The fans obviously having a great time here. We're ready for the first appearance this season of the Pro Stock motorcycle. And there are the ladders. Schnitz, Scally, Ellis, Sampay, Brown and Gann, Hines, and Karen is back after all those injuries. First pair is already on the line. Karen Stauffer and Andrew Hines.
Karen on the Suzuki, getting that extra cubic inch for those engines. She's been running awfully good. And Andrew Hines not really run the numbers he's been capable of. This should be a good race.
Hines won Harley's first race here in 2004.
Karen red lights. Just missed it by 0.03 of a second. She's been very good on the tree.
So the winner is Hines on the red light.
She'll be kicking herself because she threw away a 7:22. Andrew ran a 7:23, but it didn't matter because Karen threw it away on the starting line.
Well, in 2 weeks, drivers in the world fastest motorsports move to Houston, Texas for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Spring Nationals. And on ESPN2, we'll have qualifying on Saturday at 8 o'clock in the evening. Then NHRA Today on Sunday, 11:30 in the morning Eastern Time. And then the finals will come to you on Sunday afternoon, 4 o'clock, 1 Pacific. Pro Stock motorcycles continue. Chip Ellis and Angel Sampi.
Angel driving for Don Schumacher Racing. Up against her old boss, George Bryce over there with that S&S Buell, Chip Ellis. Boy, both these bikes have been pretty tough so far today.
Sampay, whole shot win for her.
She did a great job. Karen Stauffer before was 0.03 of a second too early and got the red light. Angel Sampay, easy for me to say, was 0.03 from perfect. Now that's the difference between winning and losing, because that 003 reaction time was enough to hold Chip Ellis, even though he ran a quicker elapsed time.
And just to explain it, while it's spelled S-A-M-P-E-Y, it's really Sampay.
That's why I just call her Angel.
That's the way to do it. Antron Brown, if you saw NHRA Today, you saw a really great inside look at him, his family relationships.
And Antron, he has had probably the best bike in qualifying. Even though he didn't end up number one, he ran that 7:02 yesterday in the heat, was far better than the next closest competitor, and he's just been running some great numbers. He's got a good chance to win this whole thing today.
Sean defeated Bradford to get into the run over in the right lane.
Another red light. Oh. Sean Gann, by 11,000ths of a second, he misses it. Antron Brown takes down to a 7:10.
Anton Brown with a 7:10. And now we have a great matchup coming. Schnitz, who had trouble with the bike, blew a rear tire in qualifying and still kept the thing going. I take you back and show you that. Look at him on the left there.
186 miles an hour on the left side of your screen. I don't know how that thing didn't go down. He's just a tremendous rider. Did a great job to save that. And then he comes back the next day. Didn't phase him at all. He runs that 7:01 in the next session for the #1 qualifying position. And thus far, low ET of the meet.
And Ryan, who says here, maybe at Houston, but unless they get an infusion of money, it might be the end of their season.
That'd be tough because there's a lot of talent over there. We need to really keep him out here on the pro stock motorcycle circuit.
Scally, former series champion, defeated Smith to get here. Scally, wow. I'm a little surprised at that one with a 7:14.184.
From start to finish, double 04 rack time, 4,000 from perfect. Ryan had a good rack time, 0:16, 16,000, so he was a little bit behind, but the big deal was Gino just flat outrun Ryan Schnitz, which is a big surprise, but great job by the former Powerade champion.
So for the semifinals, here's the way they'll match up. Sampay and Scally. And Scally will have the lane choice. And the other half of the semifinals, Antron Brown and Andrew Hines. And Brown with the lane choice there. Well, you remember Reeves' report earlier? Well, the collection is now in order. They got the pops and off they go. While they go away, we'll be back in just a minute. Well, the clouds, for the most part, have gone away here in Gainesville for the ACDelco Gatornationals. The temperatures are beginning to warm up. Doesn't scare the crowd away, though. They're looking forward to some great semifinal and final runs. At the last race in Phoenix, top fuel driver Rod Fuller took home his second career Wally, but his win was more bittersweet than sweet. In January, Rod's wife Tammy divorced, leaving Rod both shocked and distraught. In this Powerade Power Time, Fuller tells how hard it was for the past couple of months.
You know, sometimes people think us race car drivers and stars or whatever, you know, that we're immune to all these things, and it doesn't affect us, and you know, and it really does. And you know, I feel the same pain as, you know, the next person does.
Turn this way, Bubba.
Woo! Yeah. The wife, you know, leaving me is the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with, and it's still. I mean, I'm not telling you today I'm fully recovered from it. I mean, there's a big hole in my heart. There was a person that I could pick out besides, you know, my family. She was, you know, an integral part of me getting into one of these top fuel cars.
And although Rod still struggles with his emotions, he attributes his recent success to the support of his friends right here at the racetrack.
Hey, these guys here behind me, Lee Beer and these crew guys, are the ones that picked me up and, you know, and got me to the position where I was right in the head that I could win this race. This deal's been really hard for me, but you know, it's like getting thrown off a horse. You got two scenarios: you can walk away from it, or you dust yourself off and get right back on. And you know, that's what I did.
Well, looking at the ladder now, Doug Herbert continues to march on after his first round upset. He'll face Melanie Troxel, and Doug Coletta will take on Dave Grubnick. So the big noise comes up on the line. Doug Herbert and Melanie Troxel. Troxel over there on the far side.
Doug Herbert in the near lane, having lane choice. He chose that left-hand lane. It's kind of been going back and forth a little bit today. Most of the teams were in fuel anyway. We have been taking the right-hand lane, but we heard Alan Johnson say previously, he doesn't really think there's a big difference between either lane other than maybe that bump down track in that left-hand lane.
Herbert is looking to go to his second ever final here at Gainesville Raceway. He lost the 99 final to Mike Dunn.
He reminded me of that the other day, too.
He reminded you, or you brought that up?
Nah.
Yeah, I think it's him.
Yeah, it's one of those things, us drivers, we never forget final rounds. I can pretty much remember every final round I was in, especially the ones I lost.
And Melanie Troxel, you got a quick glimpse of her. What a season she's having.
This should be a good matchup. I mean, Wayne Dupuis really struggled with Doug Herbert's car coming in here, as did Richard Hogan with Melanie Troxel's in qualifying. They got together. They've got low ET of the meet. They ran that in the first round, but she kind of just got a little bit lucky the previous round. If she can get her stuck, though, this will be a good race.
Smoke on Herbert's side. And Melanie Troxel. Last time top fuel driver to start the season with 3 final rounds in a row was Larry Dixon in 2002, who won the championship that season. So what does that hold in store for Melanie Troxel?
Boy, they are hot right now. The previous round, Melanie drove it out of the groove toward the center and left side of your screen. Not this time. I mean, she kept that thing stuck right down the middle. Richard Hogan gave her a great tune-up to run a 452 at 327 miles per hour in the heat of the day. Good job.
Yeah, there's going to be one very happy lady going to the finals. It's going to be Dave Grubnick and Doug Coletta. The teammates are going to face one another when we return in the Top Fuel semifinals second pairing. Ready for our second pair. Dave Grubnick and Doug Coletta. And right now, Dave Reed is with Richard Hogan.
And Richard, you and Melanie Troxel going to your third final in a row. What changes did you make to that race car to combat the sunshine here in the semis?
Just really bad qualifying weekend got us ready for today. We ran so bad Friday, Saturday, we worked extra hard.
3 consecutive finals. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you want to start, the only thing could be better is to win 3 of them. Melanie won 1 and leads in the points fight.
Another good matchup between the teammates here. I guess Jim O talked with Dave Reed between rounds. We always talk about team orders being involved with this. He says, yeah, just tell those guys up in the booth we're both going to dive. That's pretty hard to do, but it actually kind of happened once back in the Gatornationals a long time ago. But
Grubnick, a 456, 320 miles an hour. His last final on the tour was in Englishtown last year. There he lost to Larry Dixon.
just a good job by Jim Oberhofer, Connie Coletta, David Grubnick, and the team. You see him spraying the injector, try to kill that engine. Here we go, back on board, watching David Grubnick just basically, they left the starting line together, and then David Grubnick just pulled away. I think maybe Doug Coletta had a cylinder out. We're on board now. The car launches just like we've seen the other 2 runs. That thing pretty much stays stuck right in the middle of the lane, down track, kind of moves around just a little bit, but not enough to hurt anything.
Meanwhile, over on the other side, here's how it looked.
Yeah, the motor was soft. There you see the cylinder out on the left-hand side, which obviously slowed him down quite a bit and allowed his teammate David Grubnick to get into the final round.
And so this guarantees that we will have a first-time Top Fuel winner for the Gatornationals. Will it be Troxel or will it be Grubby? That's the final round as it's set up. When we come back, yeah, it's these guys. Noisy, rude, and fast. The funny cars.
Here we go, rev it up, baby, go, never gonna stop, no, nobody's gonna slow us down.
This telecast is available on ESPN2 HD. And boy, the pictures in HD are just crystal clear. First time since Robert Hight has joined the team that all of the Force cars are in the semifinals. Medlin and Capps will be first.
Pretty amazing feat even for John Force, but right now Ron Capps wants to put Eric away.
Well, for Medlin, it goes up right after the start line, and Ron Capps will move on to the final. Medlin's last win on the tour was over Ron Capps last year at Memphis, but not to be here. You can see the telltale signs of that panel blowing out.
Right side of your screen, Eric Medlin has been having problems all weekend long. This time it came at a most inopportune time because Ron Capps was laboring down through there. He only ran a 487. I know they were trying to run better than that, but it just sounded like the engine maybe had some cylinders out, or it was just some sort of problem. It didn't run the kind of number I'm sure the ace was looking for, but it's good enough to get him in the final.
Come on over. Ronnie, let's go.
Well, how about Ed the Ace McCullough? He's over wrenching now. Dave Reef, what's he think?
Well, what does Ed the Ace McCullough think? You've been having to deal with the tuning conditions today, clouds, sun, but you got it done.
Well, right now our biggest obstacle is Team Force. I mean, 3 against 1, that don't really seem fair, but we got one of them there, so we'll see who we get next round. Conditions are what they are. All we can do is go race them.
Good luck to you. And as far as that goes, take a look behind me here. The cars have already actually stopped, but John Force, Robert Hight just performed a lane swap. It was John Force who has the lane choice. He chose the right lane because Ron Capps just went right down there.
And it seems to be an appropriate time now for this week's Brute Essence of the NHRA.
If you've been watching the last couple races, one thing you probably noticed is a lot of drivers having problems getting their parachutes out. Now, here in the funny car, most of the drivers in the past and still now have the parachute levers mounted up on the roofs. When the body's lowered, it's up above you. One drawback to that is you have to loosen your arm restraints so much it becomes kind of dangerous. Another option the drivers have is a push button. You'll see that in Top Fuel and Funny Car. Simply push the button, out come the parachutes. And one thing we have over here on the Brute team is when they lower the body, these levers that are mounted here end up right here during the run. Now all I do at about 1,000 foot mark is reach over, hit those levers, and look, there's my hand right on the brake. Very safe, very simple. Now, one thing we've noticed here at Gainesville, you won't have a problem with that. You could probably make 330 miles per hour and stop with the brakes only. Very long shutdown.
Looking over there on the left, Robert Hight, who won the Winter Nationals.
And a lot of people think that the parachute problem has been aerodynamically related to, but most of it's been mechanical. You know, basically the handle's been breaking and so forth, so it's just one of those ongoing things.
Robert Hight, who won the Winter Nationals, his only final of the season, and he faces the man John Force, looking to go to his second consecutive final this season. It would be his 11th final here at Gainesville. It's going to be John Force with a 475, 323 miles an hour. And the crowd happy with that one. John Force moves to the final round.
What a great drag race. We talk about team orders here. There hasn't been team orders for a long time. I don't even know why we talk about it anymore because everybody's pretty much racing heads up. And John Force obviously did the same thing. Robert had a slight advantage off the starting thousandths of a second, and John was able to drive around and get the win with a 475 at 323 miles per hour.
Take a look at that as they come to the line.
You see John just basically came around on the other end to get the win as basically Robert slowed down to only 316 miles per hour at the finish.
So for the final matchup in Top Fuel, Ron Capps and John Force. Be the 10th time that they've gone head-to-head with one another in the finals. Force leads in that battle 7-2. We'll be back. Oh, yeah, it's time for Pro Stock. Here's Erica at the ACDelco Gatornationals. And as we show you the ladder, not one driver in Pro Stock has ever won the class here at Gainesville. So we're looking for a first-time winner, Mike Dunn.
Yeah, this is going to be a great matchup here. I mean, Erica Enders, really struggling qualifying, but boy, her driving has got her to this point in the semifinals. She's just done a great job. But Ron Krischer, he's got some big horsepower under the hood there. When he gets that thing hooked up, it makes some really good runs.
Yeah, but Erica's won her first 3 hole shots, so she sits over there on the left. We'll see how she does. Ron Krischer on the right. Never been to a final here at Gainesville.
Headlight Krischer.
Erica doesn't even have to work for it. With the red light, she takes the win and moves to the final. Is that great or what?
That's just a situation. Ron Krischer knew she's been on the tree all day long and knew that he could not give anything up to her off the starting line. He just pushed it a little too hard, missed it by 0.07 of a second.
Mike Dunn, it's funny that you said that. That's exactly what Ron Krischer told me just moments before pulling into the water box. He knew that Erica Enders had been driving well, and he knew he had to push the tree. So that red light, probably not going to be a great surprise to him.
Well, he did push it. He paid for it. And Erica, she's going to move forward to the final round. Is that great or what? In 2 weeks, drivers of the world's fastest motorsport move into Houston, Texas. It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts Spring Nationals, and on ESPN2 we'll have qualifying on Saturday, April Fool's Day at 8 o'clock in the evening Eastern Time. And then NHRA Today comes up Sunday morning at 11:30, and the finals at 4 in the afternoon. All that from Houston. Let's go to Gary Gerald.
Well, first there was a couple of hole shot wins. Now a red light makes it kind of an easy pass for you against Ron Krischer. You're going to the finals. Is that sinking in right now?
Oh, it's awesome. The whole way down the track, I seen him ahead of me. I had no idea that he red lighted, so I'm going through the beams. I hit my chutes, and I'm like, crap, he just beat us. My guys come on, they're like, he red lighted, so we're going to the finals. I'm so excited. Slammer's Ultimate Milk is here once again, and Bravo Foods, we're so happy to have him on the car. This is awesome.
Go turn it around.
Thank you.
Yeah, and as Mike Dunn suggested, those early hole shots may have pushed the psychology of that thing and helped out with that win.
Definitely makes the driver think. You got 2 good drivers here right now, Greg Stanfield, Tom Martino. Tom Martino seems like he can sit out 2 years and come in, act like he never took a day off. Just a pure natural driver. Greg Stanfield also one of the best drivers I think out there. He knows how to win.
Martino, look at that, identical ETs. Wow.
What a drag race. Identical, like you said, 6-7-0-0. The difference was on the starting line. Neither driver, I want to make sure you guys understand this, neither driver has anything to complain about. They did great jobs. Tom Martino, an 0-14 light to Greg Stanfield's 0-17 light. That was the difference by 0.03 of a second advantage that Tom Martino got off the starting line was what got him the win light and into the final round of the Gator Nationals.
You know what, Martino will be going to his second final round in a borrowed race car. He was runner-up in the finals last season. And to Jack Conklin in a Larry Morgan car. So here's how they will line up. Martino and Erica. Martino, he'll have the lane choice for Pro Stock Finals at the Gator Nationals. Yeah, you're right. That's great. There's Sampay, sitting on her Pro Stock motorcycle, ready for the semi-final matchup as she's about to take on Gino Scali.
2 former Powerade champions going at it here in the semifinals of the Gator Nationals. Both riders doing good jobs up to this point. Anytime you get to the semifinals at the Gator Nationals, you got to be doing a good job. But we watch Angela on a couple runs get totally sideways on that bike in qualifying, and one of the runs she just reeled it back in.
Angela, 3-time Powerade champion. Scali, he's been a champ once. Red light. just a minuscule mistake and it's all over. Sampay will go on, and they now have a chance for 3 female pro winners when this day is over. Let's go to Gary Gerald.
Well, let's check in here with Tom Martino, and what an interesting story. The last time he was in a finals, he was in a borrowed car from Larry Morgan at the end of last season. Now he's in a borrowed car from V. Gaines, and you're in a final again. Who are you going to borrow from next?
I don't know. I work for Bob Benza, and he's got a pretty good hot rod. I'm thinking maybe I'll borrow his at the next race. I just got to be thankful to Bob Benza, Larry Morgan, V. Gaines, especially my family. You know, I've been out of racing, driving, and for 2.5 years before the World Finals. I was lucky enough to get in there, and you know, it's always lucky when you get to the final. We have a good crew behind me. Larry called and said he had some stuff he wanted to test here. Would I mind driving? And Bob Benza said it was okay to do it, my employer. And unfortunately, Bob, he didn't qualify, but hopefully he's enjoying the day and me being in the final. Maybe I can go one more round and come home with the trophy.
Yeah, don't sell this guy short.
The second semi, and it is Antron Brown. Pro Stock Motorcycles over Hines.
Wow, we have an all-Schumacher final. Antron Brown doing the job. Great reaction time off the starting line to get away from Andrew Hines and then just outpower him to the finish.
And Schumacher's got to be celebrating now no matter what. Imagine what it can be like at the end of the day. Now let's take a look at our Checker Shucks Cragen Tractionary.
Well, let's talk about fuel injection. Since the Suzukis are allowed to run them here this weekend, although most of them are running the carburetor, it is a system replacing conventional carburation, which delivers fuel under pressure in the combustion chamber or in airflow prior to entering the chamber.
And fuel injection is something that you can see across the board in the Pro Stock motorcycles this year. Little celebrating down there, you bet. Final matchup, Sampay and Brown. Whoa. Big battle within the group. We'll see how it comes out.
But it's not good out there right now.
Well, it's a clear sky overhead at the ACDelco Gatornationals, and we're ready for our final rounds. We're going to start out in Pro Stock motorcycle. Angel, who was won here in 1999 and in 2003. It's an all-Army fight now in Pro Stock motorcycle. There's the weather.
You can see that it's warmed up a little bit, Paul, 80 degrees, but the sun's getting down in that horizon. It's going to start cooling off pretty quick, still relatively dry. Track temperature still just over 100 degrees. Density altitude or corrected altitude just over 2,000 feet.
As we look at Angel, Antron Brown is looking for his first win here at the Gatornationals. Made his debut here.
And on paper, he has the better bike coming into this final round, but anything can happen in drag racing.
Oh, unbelievable. You would not expect a brown red light here. Sampay takes the win. She now has at least one win in each of her 11 years of being a pro.
Well, Antron knew his teammate as good as anybody on the starting line. He had to push that tree, and these Pro Stock motorcycles, remember, they react very quickly. It's easy to red light on the bikes as opposed to the Top Fuel or funny cars that don't move quite as quick off the starting line. He only missed it by 0.08 of a second, but it might as well have been 0.8. It didn't make any difference. Angel got the win.
And Dave Reef has Don Schumacher.
Don Schumacher, who's got an opportunity for a couple of Gainesville wins today. One of them was a sure thing, though. What's your interpretation of the race?
Hey, that was a great job of that U.S. Army team, both Antron and Angel. Got to say the lady has his number. She's beat him pretty consistently. They had identical ETs. I don't know how bad the red light was, but they both did a great job, and this team has been just awesome putting this program together.
8 thousandths, and way to go for the Suzukis after the rule changes.
And the big winner then, of course, is the U.S. Army.
Well, it's going to be very interesting run.
Sponsorship on both of the Pro Stock motorcycles. Well, no woman has ever won here in the Pro Stock category. For the cars, both Tom and Erica fouled out in their past final rounds. So it's kind of anybody's guess, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a fact. There have never been 2 female class winners in the same event in the professional categories. There are 3 women in the finals this weekend, so we can see history made right here this weekend. Now, Erica Enders, this is a great matchup. These cars are pretty evenly matched on paper and performance-wise, so this race could very easily be decided, just like in Pro Stock Motorcycle, right on the starting line.
Gary Gerald will catch up with Angel a little bit later. She went all the way down the track. Gary's got to do some running to catch up to her.
Now, there's, you know, these two had a little incident at the finals last year when Tom Martino beat her in the first round on a hole shot. They had a few little words at the end of the run, so there's a little bit here going on before these cars go into stage. A lot of pressure for both drivers. We'll see which one rises to the occasion.
Martino in a V Gaines race car. Got a glimpse of Erica's father there. Whoa! Martino hangs on. Erica has her problems at the start line. Martino with a 667, 205 miles an hour, wins the Gatornationals.
Wow, neither driver had great reaction times. Tom Martino did get the advantage off the starting line. Let's see if we can tell what happened to Erica. Probably just spun tire. Oh, went a severe tire shake right off the starting line. You saw them big Goodyears just cupped underneath there. That was pretty much the end of it. But how about Tom Martino? I mean, that was a great pass for him in the final round. A 667 at 205 miles per hour. A well-deserved Gatornationals victory.
Yeah. Dad knew it right off. Tom's last win on the tour was at Sonoma in 2001. He used to compete full-time on the tour until 2002, and then he lost his sponsor. Let's go to Gary.
And in the Valvoline winner's circle, here is Tom Martino. How good does it feel to jump into a borrowed race car, a part-time racer, and now hold a wallet?
It feels absolutely undescribable. All I want to do is I want to say sorry to my son Tom. He had a big basketball tournament this weekend in Baltimore, and I didn't let him come. And he told me for the final, if I don't win, he's not talking to me the rest of his life. He's only 14. So this one's for him. I want to thank V Gaines, Larry Morgan especially, and Bob Benza for letting me do this. So, hi, Robin. Sorry you missed it.
And Bubba, that one's for you, I understand, right there. We're going to look for Angel down here. We'll have her in just a moment, Paul.
Okay, we mentioned right at starting, Mike, how significant the Gatornationals is. You really want to have that win in your portfolio. Here's John Forrest, who has plenty of them, and Ron Capps will come out against him.
Yeah, I mean, the second biggest race is definitely one of the majors in our sport. The only one bigger is a U.S. National, so everybody loves to win the Gatornationals.
Let's go now to Gary Gerald. He's got Angel in the Valvoline winner's circle.
Next pair of winners will be coming toward us momentarily. Angel, congratulations. How good does it feel with a new rules package to come out here after all that great testing and walk away a winner?
You know, I feel kind of weird right now because we had a really bad time just now in the pits. Antron's bike blew up, and we had some electrical problems with mine, and he was working on my motorcycle just as hard as he was working on his. So I feel kind of like, you know, like an Army soldier does. We were all working as a team. He didn't want to leave me behind. I told him, I said, just go. If I can't race without a shift, if I have to race without a shift light, I'll race without one. My shift light wasn't working, and he would not leave the pits without me until my bike was done. So that's that soldier motto. We don't leave any fallen comrades. We made it to the starting line late, but we made it. And the U.S. Army Suzukis are in the winner's circle, both of them, because we both deserve this trophy because our team is the one that won it for us, not me today. My team won this trophy today. Thanks.
Outstanding work.
Ashley Forrest looks on. John Forrest would have his 8th win in funny car here, but his first in 5 years. Capps has only beaten John 2 times in their prior 9 finals. Well, Forrest fights it early and then drifts over. And so it's Ron Capps, his first ever win at the Gatornationals.
How about that, Ron Capps and Andy Ace McCullough? As you look at Austin Coyle, pretty much disgusted right at that point. Andy Ace McCullough, he's loving it. Wasn't the big number he's looking for, 486, but it got the win because John Forrest got into tire shake early and had to backpedal the car.
Dave Reef has at the Ace.
Ace, you've won here before. Ron Capps never has. You've provided him that Wally.
Well, it didn't run what we wanted it to run. We were trying to run a little bit harder than that, but I've said this before. I've been lucky in Gainesville, and once again, I guess I just got to say that we were lucky. So, but we'll take a win any way we can get it.
Points leader extends his lead. Now down to the Valvoline winner's circle and Gary Gerald.
And the helmet comes off. The smile is in place. Ron Capps, we were talking early today about the value of not letting opportunities get away early in the season. How valuable is this win here, your first Gatornationals victory?
Gary, first of all, I'm standing above you, so I'm not as tall as people think I am at home right now. It's amazing. I told you, championships are won. First of all, I want to thank ACDelco for putting on this race, and of course Powerade as usual. But this weekend's been tough, and championships are won when you're not doing well. We're gonna have weekends where everything goes great, and it's those weekends where they're not going so good, and you got to get through them. And the Brute guys did a heck of a job, and Dodge, and we still got the old Stratus, but you know. I don't know what else to say. I mean, everybody just read the side of the car. I mean, super winch, especially Brute. I mean, everything they've done, it's been amazing.
You may want to stick with that old Stratus for a while longer.
Woo! Cap's last win here was at the Fall Vegas race. And we will have a first-time winner in Top Fuel here at Gainesville as we take a look at Dave Grubnick. And, of course, he faces Melanie Troxel. Last time there was a female winner in Top Fuel here at Gainesville was Shirley Muldowney in 81 and again in 82. You could see history being made today.
Good matchup right here. We see crew chief Richard Hogan making the final adjustment for Melanie before she brings her in. There's Shirley Muldowney with my buddy AC Bill there watching on as their man David Grubnick gets ready to stage that Strivectin team dragster, try to get a second win.
Well, Melanie lights the tires early. The win goes to Grubnick.
Well, Paul, it wasn't very pretty, and both cars got in trouble. David Grubnick was a little bit less trouble than Melanie. Went out there in the tire shake, backpedaled it, and got to recover and got the win. Good job.
Dave Reef is down with Shirley Muldowney right now.
And I'll tell you what, Shirley Muldowney has always been in Dave Grubnick's corner, and he did it for you on your special weekend. The Hall of Fame, a race win for the team manager. Does it get any better?
No, it doesn't get any better. And you know, there's one thing about him, and even Ron, we talked about it the other night laying in bed. That guy is so versatile. He can get in any car, and he can produce. It doesn't matter if the car fits him or not, but he's probably one of the best test drivers to ever be in the sport. So I told him today, you must do this for me.
And he did.
He did.
Down to the Valvoline winner's circle once again with Gary Gerald.
And of course, as Grubby comes out, we're just talking with Shirley Muldowney on a weekend when she is inducted into the International Drag Racing Hall of Fame. What does it mean to you as an Aussie driver to not only win your second career event, but to win it for a woman like Shirley?
Well, there's Shirley, it means a lot, really, but there's a lot of people make this happen, you know, like my guys, I've got to thank them, they're the best. My sponsor, Strivectin, Dennis, Mitch, Gina, they're brilliant, you know, there's Matt Tools, Technico, Redline, I have to thank these people, they make all this happen, it's brilliant, I'm loving it. That was fun too, winning that, believe me.
Well, Shirley loved it, we hope you did too.
Well, we start out today talking about the new tire. All in all, we saw a few upsets, but basically we saw some great side-by-side racing and some very popular wins.
NCAA Women's Basketball Championship presented by Orbitz is coming up next. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. We'll see you the first win of April in Houston.